السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. ملفات فساد سددت ضربة مدوية لحكومة رئيس الوزراء التركي رجب طيب أردوغان، تعديل وزاري وأزمة داخلية ودولة متشظية من أدنى هبوط للليرة التركية، والانتخابات المحلية والرئاسية والبرلمانية باتت على الأبواب. هل تنعكس كل هذه الأمور على السياسة الخارجية التركية والعلاقات التركية بالعرب والغرب؟ تركيا اليوم من الداخل، معكم زينب صفار، تابعونا. هو وزير الخارجية التركية الأسبق والدبلوماسي التركي الذي خدم أطول فترة في دول الشرق الأوسط في الخارجية التركية. هو يشار ياكيش من أبرز مؤسسي حزب العدالة والتنمية، وهو مسؤول العلاقات الدولية فيه، ورئيس معهد ستراتم أو معهد التواصل الاستراتيجي التركي. عين ياكيش سفيرا لدى حلف شمال الأطلسي ومصر والسعودية، كما خدم في السفارة التركية في سوريا. ياكيش أسس ورئيس مكتب التنسيق مع منظمة المؤتمر الإسلامي، وفي عام 98 أصبح ممثل تركيا الدائم لدى الأمم المتحدة في فيينا. عام 2000 عين ياكيش مستشار السياسة الأعلى لوزير الشؤون الخارجية التركية. عام 2002 انتخب عضوا في البرلمان ومنه وزيرا للخارجية التركية، وقاد حملة بلاده لبدء محادثات دخولها إلى الاتحاد الأوروبي، ويعود له الفضل في تلطيف التوترات مع قبرص. سجل طويل حافل بالعمل الدبلوماسي في المنطقة ومع الاتحاد الأوروبي وفي الداخل التركي، حيث أقدم على خطوة شجاعة أثناء ولايته وسهل دعم اللغة والثقافة الكردية، أمور لم يكن امرؤ في الإدارات التركية السابقة يجرؤ على الإشارة إليها. رجل الدبلوماسية الأقدم كيف يرى المستقبل السياسي لرئيس الوزراء التركي رجب طيب أردوغان في ظل أزمة داخلية عميقة عنوانها الفساد؟ وهل ما زالت تركيا قادرة على لعب دور في أزمات المنطقة التي تمر في تطورات إقليمية حاسمة، أم تعاني اليوم من عزلة كما يرى بعض المراقبين؟ وماذا عن الحرب المفتوحة بين حركة فتح الله جولان وحكومة أردوغان؟ Former Turkish foreign minister and founding member of the AKP party and first foreign minister of the party and president of Stratum and the longest ever serving Turkish diplomat in Middle Eastern countries, Mr. Yashar Yakish, welcome to the Inside, sir.
Thank you.
You're most welcome, sir. Now, at the end of 2013, a massive corruption scandal hit hard the Erdogan government of tens of millions of dollars, and it actually led to the toppling of many of his ministers. 4 were implicated, and to avoid a kind of domino effect, Mr. Erdogan resorted to a government reshuffle where 10 ministers were changed. This event, how did it hit hard on the political future of Mr. Erdogan at a time when he is trying to work hard on cementing his political base for the local elections in March and consequently the presidential elections in July?
I think that the reshuffle itself did not hit the prestige and the electorate, number of the electorate or the proportion of the electorate. What hit more perhaps the political career and the balance in Turkey was this controversy between Gülen movement and the AK Party. That is the main reason for perhaps difficulties that we may face in the future, because I always considered myself considered my party, my political party and Gülen movement on the same boat. When we sing, we will sing together. This is how I consider the situation. So both sides in this controversy will emerge as a loser from this controversy. But of course, the loss on the AK party side, on the ruling party side, it is number of votes in the ballot boxes. Whereas loss on the Gülen movement side, it will be the loss in the prestige of the movement.
Now, concerning this open warfare between the Gülen movement and on the one side and the AKP party on the other side, first of all, can you please explain who are the Gülenists and why do you think that they might be dangerous to the society, as lots of commentators have tried to show the Gülen movement?
Actually, I do not want to look at them as a source of danger, but at the point where we came, it posed a threat to the party or the leadership of the party perceived that way, because Gülen, the Hoca Efendi, as we call it in Turkey, Hoca Efendi took a very
Fethullah Gülen, yes.
Fethullah Gülen took a very strategic decision back in 1990s. He said to his disciples, "Stop constructing mosques. Turkey has more mosques than necessary. Stop constructing mosques. Please construct schools. Because we need schools, we need educated people. We need engineers, governors, generals, high court judges, and the computer engineers, and the biologists, doctors. This is what we need." And since late 80s and early 90s, so almost more than 20 years, Fethullah Gülen put emphasis on non-religious education. And this continued also outside Turkey. And he was able to pick the brightest students to enter the schools. In Turkey now, the graduates of Fethullah Gülen schools have penetrated almost all Turkish administration and business and the
so
private
the
sector.
judiciary and the police who have launched this attack.
Yes, but yes, I mean they were everywhere.
Yeah.
So when you hit the interest of one community, they also respond.
Right.
And whether it was only for the sake of was it premeditated? That's to say, if you ask me the question whether Fethullah Gülen Hoca Efendi premeditated decades ago that he should capture all these posts in the bureaucracy so that he can shake the government, I will say that I don't think that he has done it in that premeditated manner. But when
it wasn't pre-planned, you're saying?
It was not pre-planned. But when their interests were damaged, because as you may know, in Turkey, the government decided to make a reform in the education or the school system, not education system.
So when the AKP party started to play with him, he was there to shake the government, right?
Actually, it was not the intention on the AK party side either to shake Gülen by closing down
the preparatory schools.
It was a reform imagined for Turkey, I mean prepared for Turkey, because something was wrong. There are more preparatory schools than the schools themselves. And the cost of the for families to send their children to these preparatory schools went up to tens of billions of dollars. So Turkish government wanted to close down these schools, but it was not meant in order to harm Gülen movement. But Gülen movement was negatively affected for two reasons. One, It was a source of income for Gülen movement to run.
So when
such
you hit
schools.
the pocket, he just, blew everything apart.
One reason. The other, many people say that these schools, preparatory schools, were also a method, a way, or an area where they picked adherents, disciples for the Gülen movement. When you go to the school, preparatory school,
kind of
you identify this man is the best.
Recruitment for
Yes,
the Gülen movement.
So the government cut both the income way source and also recruitment source, so both.
However, but the AKP party and the government was suffering also from a lot of corruption, perhaps in various dossiers. Now, do you think, sir, that there is now a parallel state and that Erdogan's, for example, attack against Gülen is just very justifiable?
Well, parallel state, of course, you can imagine, you can call a set of many people in the Ministry of Justice plus Ministry of Interior, if they were educated in the Gülen schools and they owe an allegiance to the Gülen movement, they communicate each other in the justice, in the police, and in the Ministry of Interior or Ministry of Health. These people were educated in the same schools, they slept in the same dormitories, and they performed their prayer in the dormitories together, etc. So there is a commonality, common point between these students. Were they organized as a parallel state? I don't think that they were. I don't think that they were organized. But if you ask me the question in a slightly different manner, whether they were listening to the instructions that they were receiving in their hierarchical order in between themselves, they may do so.
But there is a sense that Prime Minister Erdogan is very much, I can't say he's afraid or in fear, but he wants to hit hard on the Gülen movement. Is that true?
Style. This is the style of Erdogan. Yes. Rather than hesitating and taking it slowly, and I say, he prefers to defend by attacking. This is his style.
The military style, actually. Now, how will the Gülenist parallel structure be dealt with or be tackled under these circumstances now in Turkey?
Now that the swords are pulled, I think each side is likely to do everything in order to either to discredit or to win on its side. So most probably the government will try to exhibit anything wrong that Gülen movement, which is attributable to the Gülen movement, and vice versa. Both will do it, and it will be detrimental to both, in my opinion.
Right, Mr. Yashar Yakish, we're going to stop now for a short break, and then when we come back, we will discuss if Turkey is heading toward a kind of instability, the way the whole region around Turkey is in a state of instability. The Inside will be back after the break. Stay tuned.
وزير الخارجية التركي الأسبق يشار ياكيش، هل يرى أن تركيا المشغولة بأزمة داخلية بهذا الحجم تبقى قادرة على أداء دور رئيس في الشرق الأوسط في ظل تطورات إقليمية ضاغطة؟ وما أبرز العقبات التي تقف في وجه دخول تركيا إلى الاتحاد الأوروبي؟
Actually, Turkey tried to do its best in order to contribute to the shaping of the Middle East after the Arab Spring. But many people in Turkey thought that Turkey would be able to do even more than that. Knowing the region, having served, being the longest serving Turkish diplomat in the Middle East, My guess was that Turkey could do only this much. I mean, more than that, it was difficult to do it for Turkey. And Turkey is now, because of the policy stand that it has taken on the Syrian crisis and Egyptian crisis, Turkey lost its leverage in the region, because in the Syrian crisis, Turkey thought that when the dictator is opposed to the people, or the people is opposed to the dictator, to the government, Turkey took the side of the opposition. It was the right decision. But later on, when Turkey started this movement to support the opposition, together with the international community, especially Western countries, later on, at a later stage, when the Western countries noticed that the arms provided to the opposition went to the wrong hands, they put on brake. And
but it was too late, sir, because, you know, those extremists were also driven to the inside of Turkey, which, and, you know, the recent
Turkey
attack,
IS
attack.
Turkey shouldn't have done this. And Turkey, beyond that, Turkey shouldn't have burned all the ships like Tariq bin Ziyad has done in 715, and they cut all the lines of communications with the regime. Turkey could have disagreed with the regime in Syria, but continue to keep the channels of communication open and tell them, look, we are friends, but what you are doing is wrong. Please don't do it. Turkey should have opted this way, but instead of this, Turkey cut all the channels of communication. For this reason, Turkey lost its leverage to become a player in this Syrian crisis. At least when the Western countries put on brake, Turkey found itself, to use a football terminology, to be on the offside position. So Turkey was slow to readjust itself, to recalibrate its policy to the new circumstances, while the Western countries have done it. Now Turkey suffers because of this in Syria.
Is this why Prime Minister Erdogan headed to the Islamic Republic of Iran? Because some say that the only thing that was discussed, or one of the most prime issues that was discussed, is the Syrian dossier.
Many other subjects were also discussed.
Many other subjects, but they were sidelined vis-à-vis the Syrian crisis.
For Turkey, for instance, the energy issue, oil and gas issue, was as important as the other, because Turkey, especially in these winter months, suffers of the shortage of gas, etc. So the other subject was also important. And the Turkish companies operating in Iran was also very important. And the future of the general framework of the future economic relations was also important. So it was not the only item. It was important because the subject itself is very important. So it is not because he went only for that purpose. No,
but it was all in all a positive
I believe that
visit.
Well, the Turkish-Iranian relations goes back to centuries. These are two major countries in the region since several centuries. And you may know that the Turkish-Iranian border was delineated in 1639 Kasr-Şirin Treaty. So it did not change 1 inch since more than 350 years. It shows that there is a stability in the relationship. Sometimes there are fluctuations, but the two countries find a modus vivendi, a way of life. In between themselves.
But you know, following the corruption scandal, Turkey's relations with the Arab states, with the West, with Europe and with the US have undoubtedly been affected, though no immediate foreign crisis has arisen, yet Stephen Fuel, the EU's Commissioner for Enlargement and European Neighbourhood Policy, expressed serious concern over the legally questionable steps taken by the Erdogan government in an apparent effort to shield against corruption allegations. Now here, Mr. Yakish, do you still think that Turkey's accession to the EU is still plausible? And if so, what are the obstacles that it faces in this sense?
I served 8 years as the chairman of the EU committee in the Turkish parliament. So I was faced with such questions on
various
dozens of occasions, scores of occasions. My perception of Turkey's accession process, my perception, which was valid at that time and which is valid at the present time, is the following. Turkey should utilize the accession process to put more order to its interior. So make it, using this opportunity of accession process reforms, which is expected by the European Union, to put more order to its interior and to make Turkey a better democracy, because we are not a paradise of democracy. We know that we are lacking a lot of things. To make Turkey first-class democracy, to make Turkey a country where fundamental rights and freedom are enjoyed by more people, to make Turkey a more transparent market economy, lesser corruption. And if we achieve all these things, whether Turkey joins the European Union or not becomes less relevant. I mean, you could do without. In democracies, you know that all political parties criticize the government and say that this government is doing everything wrong. When we come to power, we will undo it. And we fear that all the reforms that we carried out during this period, if there is another political party that comes to power, they will undo these reforms, and Turkey will come back to the time before the reforms. And for this reason, I am still in favor of joining the European Union, even if we achieve all these reforms in Turkey, because it will be consolidated, and a new political party coming to power will not be able to step back. Yes,
the AKP party, and particularly Prime Minister Erdogan, it was attacked from the insiders, from the inside Turkey, but at the same time there were also certain policymakers and commentators. They are saying that, or presuming that, Turkey is becoming increasingly isolated due to certain kind of policy mistakes and miscalculations from the side of the government. How far is that true?
Actually, isolation in the Middle East, I have already mentioned the case of Syria and Egypt. So at least our relations with Syria and Egypt, and also because of this Mavi Marmara incident with Israel, are cut off. So Turkey has no ambassador today, as of today, in 3 capitals: in Tel Aviv, in Damascus, and
in Egypt.
In Egypt. So when you don't have ambassadors in such important centers, your leverage or your way of
maneuvering and diplomacy is
limited. But in certain cases, with Iran and with Russia, for instance, Turkey was able to isolate the areas of disagreement, not to affect, for such disagreement, not affect the remainder of the relations. So isolation is confined to the points where there are disagreements, which is natural. We are taught at school in Turkey that the Ottomans brought peace and stability to the Middle East and to the Balkans, etc. But after having served 12 years in the region, I know that the perception of Ottoman perception of the Middle Eastern countries, varying from one country to another, is not that bright. they remember the Ottoman period more with the negative sides. So it is not easy for Turkey to make this past forgotten. It is not possible. Furthermore, Turkey has turned its back to the Middle East after 1920s. It remained turned back until 1960s. At 60s, because Turkey was isolated on the Cyprus problem, it made a timid effort to come back. But it was not very successful until AK Party came to power, because the Middle Eastern countries should have confidence in the Turkish politicians and decision makers. So it came with Erdogan, but this time the expectation...
Do you think that, this is my last question, do you think that this was a bit distorted now?
Yes, I think because Turkey has seen the limits of its capabilities on the one hand, and the decisions that Turkey has taken on the Syrian crisis and Egyptian crisis, of course, antagonized these two countries. So it has become difficult. And CIA analyst, and former CIA analyst, Graham Fuller, was saying in one of his articles that Turkish foreign ministry is almost proud for not having any Arabist expert. So this is how it is seen
looked
from
at
outside.
Yes,
So
yes.
Turkey is the country that knows the Middle East much less than the European countries.
How unfortunate. Former Turkish foreign minister, founding member of the AKP party, and longest ever serving diplomat in the Middle Eastern countries, Mr. Yashar Yakish, many thanks indeed for joining us.
Thank you.
çok teşekkür ederim.
شكرا لكم.
You're most welcome.
أهلا وسهلا.
إذا لقاء جديد في الأسبوع المقبل مع ضيف جديد وقضية جديدة ودائمة من الداخل. للمزيد من التواصل بريدنا theinside@almayadeen.net من كل فريق عمل من الداخل من كل الميادين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.